Welcome to Men of Order. Before we go any further, I want to know who's here with me live. So leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from tonight so I can shout you out and show you some love. Now, listen carefully. Men of Order is for a very specific kind of man. It's not for any kind of man. This is not for men who are lazy. This is not for men who run from responsibility. And this is not for men who are looking for hype and rah rah. This is not motivation. This is for men who are carrying weight for their family, their work, their money, their faith. These men are hardworking men who got the weight of the world on their shoulders. And even though you're trying as best as you can, something still feels off. If that's you, type "that's me" in the comments. Let me know that you're here and you're ready. Now, here's the sentence that defines tonight. I see you. Yasha Allah is in the house. Georgia is in the house. I see you, sir, Yasha Allah. You feel overwhelmed because you're not leading yourself. Let me say it one more time slowly. You feel overwhelmed because you are not leading yourself. Oh, yeah, we're talking about leadership tonight. You know, on Men of Order, we talk about all kinds of things. We talk about money. We talk about career. We talk about productivity. We talk about your faith. But tonight, we're talking about leadership, y'all, because how can you be a man of order if you are not operating as a leader? Leadership is very important, but you can't lead anyone else if you can't lead yourself. And that's the problem with so many men. I already know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, I am leading myself. I'm working hard. I'm showing up. I'm paying the bills. I'm trying to be a good man. I hear you. But tonight, I'm talking about something more basic. I'm talking about this. Who tells you what to do when you don't feel like it? Because if the answer is nobody, then your feelings are in charge. And your feelings make a terrible leader. By the end of tonight, you should be able to say, I see why I feel overwhelmed. I see what I'm doing that keeps making my situation worse. I see what it's costing me. I know the first move I'm putting in place this week. Now, I want to have a quick check in with y'all. Type yes or no. Are you open to having a real conversation so I can help you get a better outcome? When I say better outcome, I mean this. You stop feeling behind all the time after tonight's session. You stop letting your mood run your day. You stop reacting to everything like it's an emergency. You stop overreacting. You leave tonight with one clear move that you can do this week, and you actually do it. Are you open to having a real conversation so I can help you get more control of your day? If so, I'm going to drop the link so that way y'all could tap in with me. Big shout out to Sir Yasharala. Thank you so much for supporting the work. Thank you for the $10 super chat. For everyone else that's tapped in, make sure that y'all support the work. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. If you get a lot of value from this session, please support. Show me love with a super chat is greatly appreciated. Now, as always, I want to make sure that when y'all tap in with me, your camera is on, but more on that later. Tonight, we're talking about leadership, and you can't lead anyone else unless you first lead yourself. I want y'all to see something. This is how Men of Order works. I always ask 3 questions. First, What does an ordered man actually do here? How do ordered men move in this situation? That's the first question. The second question is, where does disorder sneak in? See, disorder always sneaks in. We rarely look for it. A lot of guys want to be orderly men. They want to have their lives together. But sometimes disorder sneaks in ways you wouldn't imagine because it's disguised. It might be disguised as I'm busy. It might be disguised as I'm working hard. Many of the things that you've been taught growing up actually invited disorder into your life. And so when we go through every session, we always dissect and analyze where disorder sneaks in. The third question that we address in every session is, what removes the chaos? So we look at principles, systems, and real life examples to see how to get rid of disorder and apply order to your life where it's needed. Tonight, we're applying order to leadership. And shout out to a fellow leader of mine, Stuart Uzziah, is in the house. Brother said that he's driving while listening in. Hey, man, I appreciate the love. I see women as of order in here as well, tuning in from Texas. All right, so let's talk about this. I want y'all to let me know in the comment section. Of the three questions that we address on a Men of Order sessions, which one do you struggle with the most? Do you struggle with the first question? What does an ordered man actually do here? Do you struggle with the second question? Where does disorder sneak in? Or do you struggle with the third question? What removes the chaos? Let me know. Type 1, 2, or 3. Now, let's hop into this, y'all. Let's find out the core problem. A lot of men want to lead. They want to be respected. They want to be trusted. They want more responsibility, but they're not leading themselves. And that creates a hidden problem. They try to lead other people when their own life is out of control. Their life is in shambles while they're trying to lead somebody else. No wonder it doesn't work out. Let me say this another way. A man will say, I want to be a manager. I want to start a business. I want to lead my home better. I want to have a leadership role in the church. But his real life looks like this. He wakes up late, then rushes. He checks his phone to start the day, then loses the morning. He forgets things all the time and then apologizes. He keeps saying, my bad, and then does it all over again. He starts things, then quits when it gets hard. He doesn't follow through. And while he's doing that, here's what he's thinking. Man, I'll get it together soon. Next week, everything will be different. Man, I'm wore out. I just need a break. I'll recharge. And once this season of my life calms down, then I'll lock in. Have you ever heard that? I'm seeing y'all in the comments section. Thank y'all for leaving me some comments, letting me know how y'all are feeling. Here's what that mindset cost him. He stays behind. He stays embarrassed. He loses respect at work and at home. He starts feeling like his life is passing him by. And if nothing changes, here's what happens. He keeps going through the same stress, the same fights, the same missed opportunities. This guy gets chances in life, but because he doesn't lead himself effectively, he misses out on every chance to do better. He keeps going through the same old feeling of, I'm trying, but I'm stuck. Can't get right. So tonight, I want to put my finger on the real issue. Overwhelm is not always about having too much work. A lot of times, overwhelm is what happens when nobody is leading you, not even you. If you've been living in that cycle where you're not leading you effectively, type me in the comments. Be honest. This is how we grow as men, because I want to show you where disorder sneaks in. See, you never said, I want to be a bad leader. I want to make sure that I sabotage myself. You never said that to yourself, did you? But somehow sabotage creeps in. Disorder always comes in disguise. Disorder always speaks a certain language. This is what disorder looks like in a real week. Here is what the disordered man is doing. A disordered man lives in reaction. Monday comes, he wakes up already behind. He grabs his phone. He's scrolling through his messages, text messages, reading DMs. He's on Facebook to start the day. He sees problems on his phone before the day even starts. He sees people already pulling on him. And then he starts running, not leading, running. He's running through the day. And here's what he's thinking while he does it. Man, I got to catch up. I don't have time to plan. I'll just handle what's in front of me for right now, and I'll figure out everything else later. Oh, this important project, I'll do this later. Right now, I got to focus on this. Here's what that costs him. He never feels done. He never feels calm, always frantic. His mind stays loud all day. He's too busy thinking about what he forgot to do. He's thinking about who he needs to call back. He's thinking about all of the things he still hasn't handled. But you know what he's also thinking? When am I going to get a minute to breathe? So even when he sits down, his brain never rests. He keeps snapping at the people he loves. He keeps needing alone time because every moment feels like pressure. He's on the verge of having a meltdown. And if nothing changes, here's what keeps happening. His week stays messy. Guys, I want y'all to notice something. This is the story of most men. Most men who strive to be good in life are carrying more weight than they can handle. And a lot of times as men, we suffer in silence because we know the world doesn't want to hear us. You can't go to your family with all of your problems. They expect you to be the rock of the family. So what happens? You suffer in silence, and the disorder creeps in, and you don't know how to escape. It's like you're drowning in quicksand. Before you know it, the months already disappeared. The year passes you by. And yet, this kind of man still says, I'm about to lock in. I'm about to make it happen. Y'all know what some people say, oh, 2026, new year, new me. One day I'll have it all together. But let me call out 4 places where disorder sneaks in for men who want to lead. I'm going to say it plain, and I want you to check yourself. There are 4 places in your life where disorder sneaks in. Listen good. The first place where disorder creeps in is having no standard for your day. You start the day whenever, You work whenever, you eat whenever, you sleep whenever, and you're thinking, as long as I get stuff done, I'm good. But here's what that costs you: you can't build momentum because nothing is steady. You have no consistency. As a result, you keep starting over, start, stop. And what happens if nothing changes? You stay tired, you stay inconsistent, and people stop trusting your word. That's dangerous. If you don't have a set start for your day on most days, type me in the comment section below. It's all good. We're working through disorder tonight. If you don't have a set start to your day for most days, type me. While you're doing that, I'm going to show you the second place where disorder sneaks in for men who want to lead: letting feelings pick your moves. As men, we can't do that. You know, children go off of their feelings. As men, we have to mature. We are the number one species on the planet that cannot go off of our feelings. Where disorder sneaks into your life as a man is when you allow your feelings to lead you. You do what you feel like doing. If you feel good, then you make a move. If you feel stressed, you shut down. If you're mad, you react. All the while you're thinking, man, that's just how I am. God just made me this way. People, they need to stop pushing me over the edge. I'm overwhelmed. But here's what that mentality costs you. That caused this situation where you let your feelings run the show in your life. It makes all kinds of messes that you'll have to clean up later. It does a lot of damage. You say words in anger that you got to take back. You lose money just so you can feel better. You're trying to medicate. You waste time through escapism. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? You tend to lose things all because you're trying to satisfy your feelings. And if nothing changes, what happens? You start fearing yourself. You become afraid of yourself. You'll say things like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get mad. I don't trust myself. That's not peace, brothers. That's danger. If you're so caught up in your feelings that you don't know what you're going to do at any given moment, you're not running the show. And if you're not running you, how could you possibly run anyone else? Man, think about all the dysfunction that you might have seen in your life growing up. Might have been adults who couldn't lead themselves, let alone try to lead you. And some of you were born in dysfunctional households, knowing that if there had been order and leadership, a lot of the problems that you had growing up, it would have never come. So I don't want you to think about this as just some random live stream tonight. I want you to think about your legacy. I want you to think about how you're going to break generational curses by being a man of order starting tonight. If you've ever said something while you were mad that you later had to fix, I want you to type hot. Come on, y'all. We've all been there. If you've ever said something while you were mad and then later you had to make things right, type hot. That's where disorder sneaks in. And I want to show you the third place where disorder sneaks in for men who want to lead. I see you. I see you, my brother. I see you. Man, I saw your message. You know I'm going to hit you back as soon as the stream is over, right? Shout out to Uncle Mo, y'all. Y'all show my brother some love, man. That's my brother from another mother right there. The third place where disorder sneaks in for men who want to lead is wanting respect while living careless. Oh man, I can't talk enough about this. Everybody wants respect, but respect is earned. You got to give the people something to respect as a man. You want to be seen as a leader, but you show up late. You forget your responsibilities. You say yes to things and don't follow through. You make promises, but then hope that people forget. You're thinking, oh man, they should understand. Give me some grace. I got a lot going on. It's all good. What does that cost you? People stop believing in you. And guys, why is that so dangerous? Because a man without trust has no real power. How can you be a leader if nobody trusts you? At the foundation of leadership is trust. How do you develop trust? By being a man of your word, by you staying true to your commitments. And when people see that over time, they have a reason to respect you, not respect for respect's sake. If nothing changes, you'll stay overlooked. You'll stay passed up. And you'll keep blaming others for what is really your habits. You're not taking accountability. If this is hitting you right now, I want you to type clear. Let me know if this is clear in your eyes. If you don't change from this one area of disorder, mind you, there are 4. This one alone will keep you getting overlooked so that you are not promoted to a position of leadership. Nobody will check for you. Nobody will want you as a leader. No one will follow you. You will stay passed up. And the reason why you will stay passed up is because you've yet to confront yourself. Confronting yourself is a part of leading you. You show others that you're not worthy to lead others when you don't lead you, when you don't confront you, when you don't look at yourself in the mirror and ask, what did I do to contribute to this situation? What part did I have to play? When you don't ask yourself that and give yourself an honest look, that's what disqualifies you from growing as a leader, because you never have an awareness of your flaws. You're only blaming others for your habits. Hell, half the time you're blaming other people for how they respond to your bad habits. Here it is now, you have bad habits, but then if somebody else feels some type of way about them, now you want to be mad at them. When you keep blaming others for what is your habits and you don't take responsibility, that shows that you're not ready for leadership. If that's hitting you, type clear. Thank you, brothers. Clear. Clear. The fourth place where disorder sneaks in for men who want to lead is waiting for opportunity. Oh man, this person is waiting for the special moment, waiting for the golden opportunity, waiting for all the stars to align together, just like in the movies. Be honest, guys. You're passive. You're waiting to be in the right mood. You're waiting for the right time. You're waiting for somebody to pick you for the position. But while you're waiting, you're thinking, one day I'm going to get my shot. One day it's going to come together for me. One day they're going to see me. But what does that cost you? Years of a wasted life. Years of you wasting time. You're going to be watching other men pass you by while you're waiting for the perfect moment. You're going to watch men pass you by, not because they're better than you, but because they're moving on purpose. They're moving with purpose and intention while you're waiting. So, what happens if nothing changes to your mentality? You stay frustrated. Man, why are these opportunities not coming to me? I work hard. I have talent. What about me? You're waiting. You start feeling ashamed. And that very shame makes you hide even more. And then you repeat the cycle. I need y'all to hear me. How many of y'all know people who have great dreams, great visions, maybe very talented, but their life stays in the same place year after year? They're caught in this cycle. They wait for the perfect moment. You see a lot of this happening on YouTube. Man, you know what? Whenever I get the perfect camera, that's when I'm going to start recording. Whenever I got the perfect backdrop in the perfect studio, then that's when I'm going to get out there. Man, you're already sitting on $1 million idea, but you're waiting for this person to get on board. You're waiting for that person to validate your vision. And whenever you're stuck waiting, you stay frustrated because your life is not moving forward. And then when you're frustrated long enough, you feel ashamed because while everybody else is making progress, you're seeing yourself stuck in the same place. And once you have that sense of shame, that makes you hide in the shadows even more so that no one sees you not making any progress. This is why, as men, we must move forward. This is a very vicious cycle. If you've been waiting instead of moving forward, type wait. Man, I'm not saying this right now to talk down on you. I love y'all. That's why I'm on here. I'm saying this because you are a good man. And good men deserve clarity, not confusion. Confusion keeps you stuck waiting for the right moment that never comes. Clarity tells you what to do next so you can make the next move and take action. So now I'm going to give you 3 principles that are simple but real. And each one is going to show you why overwhelm keeps showing up in your life. Here's the first principle. Y'all ready? If you don't decide, you drift. If you don't decide, you're going to drift. Here's a real example. A man comes home from work. He sits down for a second. His phone is in his hand. He starts watching a video. Y'all know how it go. One video turns into 20. His wife is talking, but he's checked out. His children want him, but he's not present. Then it gets late. And now he's rushing again. Now he's irritated again. Now he's staying up too late again. And the next morning, he's behind again. Guys, here's what I've noticed in my own life. When I don't decide what the evening is for, the evening gets stolen. Not by a demon, not by a conspiracy, by comfort, by the couch, by the screen by I deserve a break. If you don't decide, you drift. I want you to ask yourself, do my days happen to me or do I happen to my days? Do I tell my day what to do or the other way around? I got a better question for you. What does an ordered man do with his day? He decides ahead of time. This is when I'm off. This is when I'm present. This is when I'm running the house. This is when I rest. And he doesn't decide it in his head. He says it out loud and he writes it down because leaders don't trust their memory only. If you see this, type, I see it. See, leaders, they say it out loud because they're directing people. That's why they're leaders. They're trusted by their followers. They're good communicators. They're not keeping it all in here. They're communicating, they're expressing the vision, the direction, the plan. He says it out loud, but he also writes it down. Not just for others, but also for himself. Remember, write the vision and make it plain. Leaders do this, not just keeping it in their head, because leaders don't trust their memory. They know that they can't keep everything in their head, otherwise, they're going to forget. And the reason why leaders don't trust their memory is because they know that too many people are counting on them for them to forget things. They know that too many people are depending on them for something major that they cannot take it lightly. So they're going to take notes. They're going to have systems in place to file their tasks, knowing that all of their efforts impact others and other people's families. And that's the reason why they're trusted as leaders. If you see this, type, I see it. Stuart Uzziah says, I see it. Brother Frederick says, I see it. Sir Yasharala says, I see it. Do you see it? Here's the second principle. What you don't lead will lead you. Imagine a man who has no rule for his money when he's stressed. He has a hard day at work. His boss gave him a hard time. I know y'all can relate. His bills feel tight. He's living paycheck to paycheck. He feels small. So what does he do to get through his stressful day? He buys something. Not because he needs it, but because it makes him feel better for 5 minutes. Just a quick thrill. Then he looks at his bank account and then he feels worse. Now he's mad at himself, but now he's hiding it. Now he's acting distant with others. What was he doing? This man was letting stress lead him. What was he thinking at the time? Man, I deserve this treat. I work hard. I got to be good to myself. It's not that much. What's the big deal? But what did that cost him? More pressure. Because now he has a new problem on top of the old problem. He was already stressed out to start, but now he's got problems on top of problems. Now he has less peace. Why? Because he knows he did something that's working against him. So now he feels shame. He has more shame and more guilt because now he feels weak. He's like, man, I couldn't control myself. I had to do it. And this leads to more arguments because what you do in one area of your life, it shows up in another. It shows up in your tone of voice and the way that you talk to people. It shows up in your distance. It shows up when you're asked a simple question, but then you flip out. And what happens if nothing changes? The same pattern every time that life gets hard. Stress hits, escape hits, regret hits, rinse and repeat. Guys, I want to tell you something. I've seen this in my own life. I could write a book about this. When I get stressed, I stop watching my money closely. I get too loose. I start spending money just so I could feel like I'm back in control. I feel like I'm buying my way back into management, getting a handle on things. I got to buy this to get a handle on this. I got to buy that to get that back in order. But it's not even about the thing that I bought, really. It's about the feeling. And then a week later, I look up and the bank account is lower than it should be. See, now I'm not just stressed about life. I'm stressed about what I did while I was stressed. I'm not just stressed anymore about the problem I had before I bought something. Now I'm stressed about what I did while I was stressed. And that leads to stress on top of stress. Can I get a witness? Can you relate to this? This is how problems compound on us as men. And see, then you got to work even harder just to get back to normal. That's what I do. If I get stressed and I end up buying something, I end up having to work even harder just to put my bank account back to where it was before I added stress on top of stress. This is exactly what I mean. If you don't lead your stress leads you. How do you spot this in yourself, guys? Ask yourself, when I feel pressure, what do I run to? Do I run to food? You got some comfort food waiting for you? Do I run to my phone? You spend all night just scrolling, DMing on different websites you ain't got no business being on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Are you spending money in ways that you shouldn't? Are you in the midst of anger and you're lashing out? Or do you suffer in silence? Guess what, guys? It's all disorder. And hey, we've all been there, still working through it. But what does an ordered man do instead? He has one rule for pressure. One. He says, when I feel pressure, I don't make big choices. When I feel pressure, I'm not spending no money. When I feel pressure, I slow down and get clear. He knows that pressure makes you move fast and dumb. Pressure can make you stupid. You know, they got a saying, pressure busts pipes. But it can also make a diamond. How? By you being composed as a man of order while you go through the pressure. See, without order in your life, pressure makes you talk too soon, spend too soon, quit too soon. It happens. So an ordered man slows down to see what's really going on in his life. He gets clear so he doesn't end up making a new mess. And the benefits that he gets from slowing down and composing himself is simple. He makes fewer mistakes. He has fewer blowups and fewer, now I got to fix this moments. I'd have messed up. Type yes if you've made a dumb choice just to change how you felt. We've all been there. Type yes if you've made a dumb decision just to change how you felt. I want some of y'all to tell us about it. I need y'all out here testifying. Listen, Men of Order is about self examination. We examine ourselves to see where disorder creeps in. Tonight, I showed you 4 different places where disorder creeps into your life. And now we got to remove it step by step. Here's the third principle you need to know: standards make life lighter. Man, you got to have standards. Let me give you a real example of how standards make life lighter. There's a man who has no standard for his sleep. So he stays up late. He gets up early and then he's tired. Then he needs caffeine. Then he's short with people. Then he's not patient. Then he's not focused. Then he makes mistakes. And then he's overwhelmed. What was this man doing? Living life with no guardrails. What was he thinking? I'll be fine. I'll catch up on sleep over the weekend. No big deal. But what does that cost him? His mood, his focus, his relationships, his chance to grow at work. See, guys, the number one thing that it affects is his progress. We don't always get second chances in life. Sometimes the very thing that we take for granted becomes the very reason why we miss out on opportunities in our life. You see it as, I can afford to stay up late. But life sees it as, had you shown up and given your A game, you would have got that promotion. And the guy who did show up with his A game, oh, he got it instead of you. While you were busy telling yourself, I don't need order. I can wing it and the success will come to me. Somebody else was planning for that win. Don't sabotage yourself, guys. Don't be your own worst enemy. A lot of us get in our own way around the clock. And what happens if that mentality never changes? He keeps living in emergency mode, just trying to survive. Man, I'm just trying to make it. Then he starts crying about how hard life is. Man, life is so hard. But you know what's so crazy about this man? His habits make it that hard. He's making life very hard for himself because he doesn't have standards. This man not having standards in his life is what makes such a hard bed for him to lie in. He's making life harder than it has to be. Every time I put a standard in place, my mind gets quieter. Why? Because I stop arguing with myself all day. Y'all know how it is. How often do you go through your day wondering, should I do this or should I do that? If that's you, type me in the comments section. See, when you set standards, all the arguing goes away because the standard already answers the question. When you have standards in place, you already know what to do because you've already decided what level you're going to play this game at. You already know what you're doing. How do you spot a lack of standards in yourself? If you keep saying, I don't know when I'll do it, I'll try tomorrow, I'm just tired, that's usually a standard problem. That's usually a standard problem because you're leaving it up to your mood. And when there's no set rule in place, you'll keep negotiating. And a man who's always negotiating with himself every single day is bound to lose and lose a lot. A standard removes the debate. It's not up for discussion. The decision has already been made and it's final. When you have a standard, it turns maybe into this is what I do with my life. This is my standard. What does an ordered man do with his life? He lives by a higher standard. He picks a higher standard and lives by it. Not because he's better than other men, but because his life is heavy, just like yours, and he needs standards to lighten it. Standards make life lighter. I know it might not seem like that, guys, but tonight we're talking about how to put it in practice. If you want your life to feel lighter, type lighter. And now I'm going to read this scripture for tonight. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. It reads, "For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?" That's heavy. Let me say that another way. If a man can't handle himself and what's under his roof, how is he going to handle bigger responsibility? He can't. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anyone else. If you can't lead yourself, your time, your money, your habits, your mouth, your mood, then any leadership responsibility outside of your house will crush you. If you can't rule your house, how can you take care of the church? How can you do anything else? See, this is not God insulting you. This is God warning you. Don't reach for something that will break you. You know, I used to always hear this growing up. Don't hang your hat where your hand can't reach. Don't hang your hat too high. A lot of times you got grand ambition, but if you're not leading you, how will you ever get there? I'm telling you guys, one of the biggest reasons why more of us are not successful in entrepreneurship is because we don't know how to lead ourselves. When you think about it, you may have spent your entire life being led by somebody else. When you were born, you were led by your parents. They raised you. When you weren't around your parents, you were in school. They led you. They told you what to study. They told you a curriculum to follow. They told you how to govern your life. And then you graduated and you worked at a job where someone else led you. So then what happens? You say, hey, I want to start a business. I'm going to quit my 9 to 5 job. But then when you do that, guess what happens? That may very well be the first time in your life where the boss is you. And you will only succeed to the level of your leadership. And for a lot of us, that's some scary stuff. You see, it's so easy to blame the boss at the job for all of their imperfections. But what happens when you become the boss of you? Nobody else is going to tell you, hey, get up at this time. You're not going to a 9 to 5. So will you use that as an excuse to sleep in? Will you use the lack of structure from the job now that you no longer have a job, for you to just wing it throughout your day. And now you're making life even harder because guess what? Even if you had all of the discipline and structure that a job provides, business start to hit different when that guaranteed check don't come in on the 1st and the 15th. Y'all better hear me. You could have the exact same structure as you would have had at a job. But even then, you're going to feel more pressure because now you eat what you kill. You could work day in and day out with structure, with time management, and still, man, I'm working on something. Where's the money? Where's the results? The reason why more of us are not prospering is because when everybody else stops leading you, there's no one to lead you, including yourself. You have to be the leader of you. It's okay to receive advice and direction and instruction from others, but you got to lead yourself. As men, you can only save yourself. No one else is coming to save you. This is what you got to realize, guys. Nobody is coming to save you. That means that the ball is in your court. You have to take the lead of your life. Nobody is going to hand you success. You got to take it. If you're hearing this right now, type here. I want to know if this is the message that you need tonight. Type here in the comments section if you're ready to be the leader of you. And guess what else, guys? I want to open a door for live conversations. If things are falling apart because you're not leading yourself well, or you're trying to lead, but you don't know how to carry the weight of it all, I want to talk to you live. Not hype, not a speech, just helping you figure out what's really going on so you can get better outcomes in life. If you're open to joining me on camera for a few minutes so I can help you get a better outcome, meaning you leave this conversation with one clear move for this week so you can push forward, click the link below. The link to join is in the comments section and is on the screen. Make sure your camera is on, sit somewhere quiet, turn YouTube off in the background so that there's no echo. We're about to get into it. First, we got Sir Yasharala. Sir Yasharala's in the house. How you doing today, sir?
Shalom, Chief Elder. Can you hear me? Shalom.
Yes, sir. It's not as loud as usual, but I can hear you, and it's good to hear your voice. Can you still hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. I can hear you, sir.
Perfect. Okay, much better, much better, much better. All right,
Had a
now,
vibrate.
sir, you know how we get down. Please let the people know your name and where you're calling from.
Sir Yasharala. I'm from Georgia right now. I'm in St. Mary's, Georgia.
St. Mary's, Georgia. I hear that. In one sentence, what feels overwhelming for you right now, sir?
It, it creeps in. The discipline creeps in when I'm doing something. Not as used before because I got rid of a lot of distraction, but it still creeps there.
Okay. Well, can you give me some examples?
Like, because my what I do for my job, I could be doing one thing, then something kicks in that I think of something else. You know what I mean? Because doing this truck, make too many decisions every single day. You know what I mean? So that I'm like, oh man, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, or the light's not working. I mean, check to see what the problem is, and I get distracted from what I gotta do later on.
I got you. So it sounds like things pop up and then it kind of takes you off course a little bit.
Correct.
Okay. Is there any particular time that this happens the most? Like does it happen most in the morning, In the middle of the workday, in the evening, or the weekends? Is there any one primary time where you feel that happening the most?
There's no primary time because we have to check these trucks throughout our day. I can stop to go to the bathroom, I gotta check the truck. I get some fuel, I gotta check the truck. If I go to a customer, I gotta check the truck. Like last night, when I delivered last night, I'm checking the trails to leave, had two major problems. I'm like, really? You know what I mean? So I had to go and look for another truck to fix the situation, and it's closed at night, and it took me off what I was supposed to do that night. Took me like 2 hours to get situated and everything else.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, sir, and I'm sorry that that happened. When these kinds of situations happen where you get thrown off track, how do you feel about that? Does it bring about stress? Does it bring about anger? How do you feel whenever something pops up unexpectedly, and before you know it, your day is off course?
Pissed and upset.
I hear that.
It get
Okay,
it get be it get be cold. I was in Atlanta last night, and for some reason, it just got super cold. Or it could be raining. You know what I mean? There's something's like, and that'll just take me this to another world.
I hear you. Now let me ask you something, sir. If this kind of distraction happens consistently over the next year, what do you think would be the impact? How would that impact you?
Oh, it impact me very much for the health and my mental stage. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to get too overwhelmed. But I'm snapping on everybody, especially family. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that.
Which family members do you see yourself snapping on the most?
My immediate family for us, but just kind of my family, but like my brother, my kids, especially here in the states. One in the Philippines, I have no problem with her at all. But here in the states, I still got to do with them. You know, sometimes and it's just sometimes just oh my, it's like talking to a wall.
Wow, I got you. Okay, so let's break this down. So right now, you are ambitious, you're hardworking, you are pressing on towards a goal, but you tend to find times where distractions creep in, even when it comes to your job. And as a result, it throws your schedule off course, which in turn slows you down. Is that about right?
Correct.
Okay, so this goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, sir, regarding guardrails. We need to establish guardrails for you. We have to figure out how can we either eliminate or mitigate all of these different distractions. So here's a few quick solutions. So number one is we can establish principles on what we do when distractions happen. Instead of the distraction happening and then just getting pulled into it, we can stop and do a quick mental check to say, this is a distraction. I'm going to deal with this and I'm going to get right back to what I need to get to doing. Because sometimes, if we're not careful, we can hop straight into the distraction and then we can end up losing too much time. Not every situation that pops up is one where it's guaranteed to cost you this amount of time, this amount of money. Sometimes we do it to ourselves because we're not being more mentally guarded about how to readjust after a distraction has happened. This is something that I've had to work on a lot over the past few months. I've had to hold myself more accountable to staying focused. I got a growing family, and these boys, they love their daddy and they want attention, and I want to be here for them. But I have to remind myself my sons, they need to see what focus looks like. And so I just want to start with keeping ourselves on the rails mentally. And for those of you that are watching, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about by you not leading yourself, stress will lead you, and then you'll start wallowing in how you feel now that you're thrown off. So sometimes you can get a distraction and then the distraction goes away. But now you're spending all this time angry, upset, frustrated about the distraction that's already passed. That
Right.
point, you're really fighting against yourself. You're getting in your own way. You have to give yourself a good mental guard. Hey, distractions may come. When I see the distraction in a moment, I'm telling myself that this is a distraction, and I'm reminding myself to get right back on track. That's the first thing. The second thing that I would strongly recommend as much as possible is to create redundancies to reduce the potential of distraction by way of emergency. I'll give an example. Let's say right now that a light goes out in my studio. I will have backup lights to make sure that it doesn't slow me down. I need to stay on track. I need to mentally say, hey, Uzziah, keep rolling. Life happens. Don't let it throw you off. But I also need to have redundancies to give me a backup so that way I'm not MIA or on the bench for too long. When I'm saying the term redundancies, guys, I'm saying that you need to have at least two or more of everything just so you have a backup, whether it's a backup product, a backup solution, a backup plan. You need to have a spare tire of life. You need to make sure that you have enough redundancies to really kind of cut down on a lot of the different losses that you feel. I know a lot of times when it comes to my wife, there might be some electronics that she's looking at and the battery might have died. And that might throw off for a second. And then I'll remind her, hey, I got all of these recharged batteries right here on standby. This ain't nothing. Let's go ahead and make that quick fix and move on. And then we also have a house manager that we train to do those things. So that way we don't have to, and we can stay on the rails. So I want to pause just for a moment, sir. What do you think about those two things that I've shared with you thus far?
Great, great. Because I know we have a safety manager. Because those parts I couldn't fix. Got
Correct.
closer, but you're correct. I didn't do that at all last night whatsoever. I let it get to me because it's one of those customers. We have a random customer, not a random, but a customer. We just drop, pick up. Well, I should hey call. This is not here. It's not working. What you want to do? You got 15 minutes. If not, I'm making a decision.
Yes,
You know what I mean? I
sir.
should did. I see it now. I didn't see it last night, but I see it now. You know what I mean? Say,
Mm,
hey, I don't get paid to sit and wait like that. You know what I mean? So I should have did that, but I didn't. But I see it now.
I'm glad that you see it, sir, because that's going to bring me to my third and final solution for you on this call. Write the vision, make it plain. What do I mean? It's very important to write down the tasks of your day so that way you can stay on track with your day. One of the biggest reasons why people fall off is because they're so used to what they're doing, they get relaxed. And then when something throws them off course, they don't know how to get back on track because they didn't have it written down. This is a big thing that happens a lot of times whenever we are doing broadcasting for the church. We might have run a stream 1,000 times. It's very mechanical. Hey, turn on this TV, turn on this camera, make sure that the AC is on, set to this temperature. But all it takes is one emergency or one setback to shift our attention. And
Right.
we've had to learn, man, we need all of this written down, not just any kind of way, mind you, a checklist. Because with a checklist, that keeps you accountable to, have I done this already? Or do I need to do this? If you have a more advanced checklist, you can identify what the status is of you completing a thing, whether it's not started, whether it's in progress, whether you're waiting on someone else, or whether the task is complete. My point is, I learned from doing a lot of broadcasts that even if you know how to do a thing 1,000 times, all it takes is one good distraction to make you forget that you should be doing it right now. There might be times where a distraction could happen in a church, and someone might forget to put the verse on the screen. Someone might forget, hey, this is where we're reading from. I might forget, hey, what were we just talking about? And that's the reason why you got to have it written down, because that's what keeps you accountable. And you know what's crazy? Everything that I just said is a redundancy within itself. If you already have the knowledge in your head and you have it written down, that means you already have two ways to solve the same problem. You have two methods of keeping yourself on track. Set those guardrails. Tell yourself up front, you got to stay on track. This is a distraction. It's not going to throw me off.
Right.
And then have the redundancies. Two is better than one. From that
Fact.
point, have it written down, keep yourself on track. And you know, one of the biggest things that will help you in terms of your written standards, Sir Yasharala, having that after action review that you just discussed. When you have
Right.
that after action review that you just discussed, you can do things like what you talked about a little bit earlier. You can hold yourself to the standard of, hey, this happened and I didn't really like how this went. Let me take note about how I can improve this for the next time. And then you implement that for the future. Okay.
Got it, sir.
Very good. Very
Yes,
good.
sir.
Very good. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, sir, so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to hop on to the next man. Thank you so much for all your support as always, sir.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you, Chief Elder.
All right now. All right. So, men, before I let Jason on, did y'all hear that? This situation is not about him being too busy. It's about leadership. How do you lead yourself through situations where you get thrown off and then you got to get back on track? I want to bring in my brother Jason right now. How you feeling?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. It's an honor speaking with you.
Hey,
Um,
it's an honor. The honor is all mine, brother. If you could tell the people your name and where you're calling from.
my name is Jason. I'm calling from El Paso, Texas.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Hey, I want us to talk about how things have gone for you since our last talk. How has everything been? How's the progress coming?
I would say with the because the last time we talked about like the conflict between like getting a job. So I've been on focusing on or I do sales, and then also I have like a previous finance background. So what I've been doing, it's been a little bit challenging right now to kind of get back in the financial industry. But what I've been doing now is I'm working on getting like a sales position, a car salesman position, to kind of get me back acclimated into like the sales environment in order to me transitioning to a better financial position, so I can use that fund and that stability to help me with my business.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. I love to hear that, man. So, in your assessment, how are you feeling since our last talk? Did you get a lot of value out of the talk? How have you been feeling since then?
Yeah, I got a lot of value because with this whole series, um, it's very important because I feel like that's the biggest thing that's really challenging me is having order in my life, having necessary guardrails. I can do it in certain areas. So, like for instance, I would say one of my biggest anchors in my life, or my two biggest anchors in my life, is fitness. I always wake up in the morning, make sure I'm doing something fit to kind of clear my mind. uh, and then I also um, I also like you know do a little prayer, but I have to really work on you know developing a better prayer life. So I would say those are like two anchors in my life that I continually focus on.
Okay. So, with that being said, what would be a win for you after tonight's talk? What are you looking to accomplish?
I would say win for me is um, uh, just being able to like have like a real solid, you know, clear mind, real solid, just like focus. Because while I'm focused on those two other those areas, like distractions, and I easily get distracted very easily. I get very distracted. So I would say being really, really focused and really like locking in. Like my problem is I'm very curious. I'm very inquisitive, but that inquisitiveness leads me down to like different rabbit holes, researching in different things. So I would say just being focused and just be able to have like a system, just like block out distractions.
Perfect. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about that, man. Tell me about why you're so inquisitive. What are you inquisitive about?
I'm inquisitive about like life, self development, spirituality. I'm inquisitive. The reason why I'm inquisitive is because always have like the tendency to want to elevate yourself. Elevate yourself. You want to have like an impact, and then uh, by studying different things, um, you kind of you develop, you become a better person, and you kind of develop yourself. That was one of the reasons why I was drawn to your podcast, and then also your book was kind of inspirational, book behind you. Um, it was very important. You had talked about two most important things of, I guess, finding a career is understanding yourself, and then self-awareness, and then also reverse engineering. So
Understood. Okay. So, shout out to you for the book. I see you.
yeah,
So, let's talk about it a little bit, man. You said that you're inquisitive because, you're trying to advance,
yes,
you're trying to grow, you're trying to develop, and, obviously, knowledge is power, applied knowledge is
yeah.
power. But here's the thing. Um, are you of the mind that the more you know, the more successful you will be?
um it's like a paradox. I know it's the more you know it in general, the more successful you're going to be, but you have to take action on that knowledge. You can't just accumulate that knowledge, keep accumulating it, and don't put it into work.
Okay. Are you the type of guy that has like a lot of things going at once?
Yes.
That's what you got to fix.
Yes.
You've got to develop mastery around one thing. A lot of times, I want to say, especially in our community, Jason, uh, having a lot of things going at once is glorified. People will say, I've got all of these businesses that I'm running. I got this side hustle going on, and I got that side hustle going on. And when you really think about it, a lot of times, whenever people do that, they may not be remarkable at any one business, but they're hoping to get a little bit from here and a little bit from there. When ironically, if they would just focus on one thing, that would give them a lot of success. Because here's the thing that you've got to realize: everyone that is at the top of an industry, they're all in, right? Like, okay, you're not going to see LeBron playing basketball, football, soccer, tennis. He's not playing all of those sports on a professional level. He's mastered basketball. And so when you take on so many different areas, you're already setting yourself up for sabotage. You get what I'm saying? You're already inviting someone with focus to pass you, simply because they're leveraging the gift of time, right? Time gives them the ability to focus, and with the focus, they're able to figure out how to make things move in an industry. But when you have a lot of things going on, that's when your focus is removed. And then when your focus is removed, there's a lot of things that you may not see. You will have more blind spots. When you don't have time and focus, even for the things that you know you need to do, you don't have the time to do it, right? Because you have time and energy focused in so many different areas. I would encourage you, especially if you don't already have one kind of area mastered that's reaping you a lot of results. Take this time in your life right now to really focus on developing mastery. If you read a book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, he references a study that came from K. Anders Ericsson that says that most masters of industry dedicated at least 10,000 hours of their time towards a specific craft before they ever reached any great success. Whenever you think about great musicians, great leaders, great entrepreneurs, chances are they've been doing what they've been doing for a considerable amount of time, but you won't be able to really reach that threshold unless you're putting in the time. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So let me ask you this, Jason. How old are you?
I'm 40.
40. Okay. Very good. So you have the maturity to focus,
Yes.
and you also have urgency to take action.
Yes.
You're in a very good position right now. And if I can put it another way, you don't have time to dabble in a lot of things.
Yes.
You see, like for us as men, we know you're on the verge of your financial prime, right? Most guys reach their financial prime, as they get older in age.
Yes.
And so right now, man, we can't afford to be too inquisitive.
Yeah.
We've got to identify our natural strengths, our area of competence, and we've got to start pouring energy right into that. And one of the things that I think is very important for this discussion, Jason, and I'm not sure like whether or not like this is a conscious thought. When you study the world's most successful people, A lot of times they suck at things that they didn't build their brand on. A lot of times, like for example, if you were to watch guys, if they do like a celebrity golf tournament or stuff like that, they may not be the best golfers, even though they go out there to play. Why? Because they're so immersed into their area of strength that when it comes to all kind of other things, it has no place. And so this is really just about having laser focus and really identifying, okay, where am I going to put my 10,000 hours? Where am I going to develop my mastery? Because if you watch the last stream, you'll know that you get paid based on the size of the problem that you solve. And so I just want to keep that in mind. If you're going to solve big problems, you got to spend a lot of time developing that skill and then putting that skill into practice. You can't afford to try 10, 20, 30 different things. You need to pick a lane and stick with it. When you look at someone like Warren Buffett, for example, one of the richest men in the world, he stuck to investing for a very long time. We cannot be all over the place. So let's pick one thing, go all in, and then we can evaluate from there. What are your thoughts?
That's great. That's something I've been, like I said, I've been having like inner turmoil with, because, like you said, it feels like a conundrum. It feels like a part of you feels like you're doing a lot when you have a lot of things going on. But if you really put the rubber to the road, it's not really putting you where you need to be.
Absolutely, man. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to identify your path in preparation for our next call. Obviously, you've made progress from our last call by identifying what you're going to do in terms of work and then putting yourself in a position to kind of offset financial burden, right? You're giving yourself that financial stability so that way you can reevaluate how to move forward in the business. The business is still the long-term play. And Lord willing, man, you still got a lot of time. A lot of guys, they did not hit their big break in business until they were much older. And so I just want you to take this time right now to evaluate your natural strengths. I want you to do an exercise, Jason. I want you to identify what are the top skills that other people say that you're very good at. Not just yourself. The people who know you the best. What do they say you are best at? I want you to think about some of the skills that you have that strangers have complimented you about. Even if somebody doesn't like you, they may still acknowledge that you're good at a certain skill.
Yes.
And I want us to find that common denominator. And then I want to see how we can monetize off of that skill. I want to see how we can really bring that to life. Chances are, you've already had enough lived experience to know a lot of your natural strengths, but now we just need to turn it into an enterprise. All right. So the next time that you and I talk, man, I'd like you to really kind of come back to me with some of those strengths identified. And if you kind of notice a pattern, I want you to let me know just one specific thing that you can do, one specific area, because there's so many different ways to prosper. Have you ever heard of this guy who made millions of dollars in real estate, crypto investing, drop shipping, as well as door-to-door sales?
No.
I haven't either.
Okay.
The people who build wealth, they pick one and then they go in. See, a lot of times people hear the average millionaire has 7 different streams of income, but they don't understand how that came about. See, the average millionaire doesn't have 7 streams of income because they started 7 different ventures at once. Most of the time, the average millionaire has achieved success in one area, and then they took the residual or profit from that one area that took off, and then they invested it towards other income streams. Okay. So I just want you to just ponder on what's going to be your one thing, man, and we'll pick up on everything else at a later time. Does that sound good?
All right. Sounds great, brother.
Perfect, man. Hey, it's great to see you on as always. And may you have a blessed weekend.
All right. You too as well.
All right, now. All right. So, men, did you hear what we just discussed? What we just talked about was Jason has to lead himself in one direction. He cannot chase everything. And guys, we're going to talk about this more on a future Men of Order session. Shiny object syndrome. See, this is what happens when everything is so appealing. You see all these different videos where all these different guys are telling you how they succeeded doing this, how they succeeded doing that. Some guys succeeded in real estate. Some guys succeeded by trading stock options. Different people had different roads to success. But the problem is, everybody had their road. You have to choose your road. If you're looking at everybody else, you're not going to be able to hear your own voice and put yourself in the right position to get where you need to get. You know, we got to have time where, okay, we soak up the game, but then we have to choose what's going to work for me, what's going to be my lane, what's going to be my win. Brother Frederick, I see you on. How you doing today, sir?
Yes, sir. Pretty good. How you doing?
Doing good, man. How's everything been going since our last call?
Everything been doing much better. I picked up a lot of knowledge from the last calls, and I am starting to apply a lot of it also.
Perfect. I'm very happy that it's been of value to you, sir.
Yes, sir, for sure.
All right. So, as always, if you could please let everyone know your name and where you're calling from.
Friedrich, I'm calling from Florida.
Okay. And in one sentence, what feels overwhelming right now?
Um, I wouldn't I would say I'm too overwhelming because I'm pretty uh self control person. You know what I'm saying? I know how to control a lot of stress, but it doesn't mean I don't stress also. But I would say it's more like I need to be more strict on as far as applying order in my life and pretty, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of be more strict on applying order into my life and all things.
Okay. Well, what disorder do you feel is giving you the most overwhelm? Is there any one particular area where you say to yourself, "Man, I know I need to work on this because in me not having more order here, it gives me this kind of stress and it's causing me the most problems."
Yeah, I would say as far as I multitask a lot also. You know what I'm saying I got pretty much similar to Jason who was talking on. I can have a lot of different things going on at once, and it causes distraction, causes me not to focus and able to master at one thing know what I'm saying? And another one is I would say I don't take enough control of my money. Like I said, I gain a lot of knowledge from your last call also. So, you know, my wife used to bring it up also to me, but I used to think I was in control. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Until when we sat down together, we were doing our statements and so together and stuff. But and she was showing me, I was seeing different fees that was popping up that I wasn't aware of throughout my account and stuff. So that was a example that I wasn't in real control, not in real control of where the money's going and stuff. So yeah.
I hear you, man. That's a big one right there when it comes to the money. So
Okay.
let's talk about the first one. And big shout out to the God 4513 for the $50 super chat. Thank you so much for that, family. I really appreciate you supporting the work. Let's make sure, man, that we continue to help each other because that's what it's all about. So let's talk about it. You first mentioned multitasking. I want you to paint the picture for me. Walk me through your environment as you're multitasking. Are you at the house? What are you trying to do all at once?
I said it's wherever I'm at, pretty much, and I can be multitasking mentally. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, or be at the house, at work, different things going on in my mind, right? I have different projects going, but wherever I'm at, they're still running through my mind.
Let me ask you this. Do you have a to-do list?
I do have a to do list. Yes, I stick to that, but sometimes those other projects can cause me to fall off track.
Let me ask you this. Are you thinking about points that are not on your to-do list?
Yes, yes.
Are you thinking about work-related points that are not on your to-do list?
It's yeah, it's work. It still works. Different type of work.
Correct. So what I believe is happening is your mind is racing more than it should because you don't have enough documented. See, the brain, when it doesn't have a system of record about what task it needs to get done, it keeps running in the mind. A lot of times when we feel like our mind won't slow down, it's really our body trying to tell us, please write this down so that way I can forget about it. The mind by default forces memory and urgency because it knows that the information is nowhere else. And if the information is nowhere else, then that means that the brain has to work in overtime. Our brains are not actually wired to function as our to-do list. And that's the reason why it tends to bring a lot of stress when we do that. And so the first thing that I would just recommend is really building a system around your task management. You know, sometimes whenever people talk about to-do lists, you know, they could just be talking about a few uh, items that they put on a notepad or something like that, but not really anything extensive. You know, I have an entire team that reviews my task management board. And on that task management board, you know, it's well organized into, okay, I need to do this now. I need to do this soon. This can get done later. This is a part of my backlog. This is something that someone else is supposed to complete. So right now, I'm just waiting on them to finish or respond. We have to work on getting your productivity in order. But you can't really have that productivity in order if you don't have a good productivity system. And we're going to talk more about that. You know, in some of my previous videos on this channel, Brother Frederick, from years ago, I went over a lot of my productivity strategies. I have to put some of those videos in the comments for you to check out,
So
or either just go back to my YouTube channel of Uzziah Israel
mhm.
and check out some of the content that I've done in the past concerning productivity, because really
Okay.
you need a solid productivity system in place. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, the second thing, money. Do you use a zero-based budget?
I do somewhat, yeah.
Okay, well, tell me, when do you set up your budget for the month?
We in the beginning of the month.
Very good. Okay. And do you take note of how much money you're expected to make for the month versus how many expenses you're planning to pay for during the month?
Yes, sir.
How do you budget your money? What I'm asking is, what is your method of budgeting your money? Do you use pen and paper? Do you use an online tool? What do you use to budget?
As for right now, I use pen and paper.
Okay, now be honest with me, Brother Frederick. Are you telling me that for every purchase that comes out of your bank account, anytime a dollar gets spent, you hold on to every receipt and you're tracking it all on paper?
Um, no,
I would
I
think
would
not.
I would say no because the majority of the time is I set the budget for the month, all my expenses, and I have an idea. But
Yes, sir.
so then I go back to the statements to check out what other things are being purchased.
I see the problem. So just like the solution, you have tools in place. The problem is you just need to upgrade the tools that you're using. You need to add more order to your life. Do you remember how I mentioned in earlier sessions that as men, we take on more responsibility, but along with the more responsibility, we don't always add more order to go along with it?
Yes, sir.
Right now, it's like you have a life where you're carrying weight, but the weight of what you're carrying, it doesn't have equipment that is strong enough to hold that weight. When it comes to the to-do list, it's not really holding your tasks. And that's the reason why a lot of thoughts about your work come to mind. When it comes to your money, yeah, you have a budget, but the problem is your budgeting method is not robust enough to give you a very clear read on your finances. So let me break this down. If you're budgeting using pencil and paper, let's just say, that may tell you how much money you're planning to make for the month and how much money you're planning to spend. That's if, you're being thorough on the surface.
Mhm.
But what a written budget may not also account for the best is all of the unexpected activity that happens during the month outside of what you were predicting before the month got started. So, for example, um, have you ever gone through a month where you thought that you would make one amount of money, but you ended up making more?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever gone through a month where you thought you would spend a certain amount of money and you ended up spending more?
Yes, sir.
We've all been there. This is why we need to have tools that can track all of this. Now, uh, I personally use a tool, and I'm not using this to promote it. I'm just walking you through what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I use an online budgeting tool called You Need a Budget, YNAB. I'm not saying that you need to use that tool, but the reason why I use You Need a Budget
Mm-hmm.
is because I need a tool that will track all of my spending so that way I have an accurate read on how much money I'm spending and making per month. Just uh, estimating how much money you're going to make and spend for the month, that's level one.
Mm-hmm.
But that really doesn't get you where you need to get because what you are estimating is not reality. You know, the goal is to try to hold yourself to what it is that you're budgeting, but money slips a lot whenever you don't have a system in place that can really track the reality of your life in real time.
Yes, sir.
Um, I recommend using a tool, and even for some people, and I do this as well. In terms of just being like a money management person, I also use Google Sheets. It's a free tool, a
Mm-hmm.
spreadsheet where you can track your finances manually. I don't recommend that for everybody. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why I use You Need a Budget is because you could spend all day trying to pull your own receipts to see how much money you've actually spent. If
Right.
you can leverage an online software that automatically downloads all of your transactions, it does a lot of the work for you. Because when you can use that, that's when you can already have different budget categories in place. Food, this much.
Mm-hmm.
Gas, this much. Money for the church, this much. You can already have those things set up online. And so then, naturally, as the month goes on, it's naturally putting your expenses in the categories that you've already preset.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, by that point, all you're doing is just seeing how your money is working for the month versus you having to crunch the numbers. What
Right.
you got to do right now is you got to focus on making the money through your business. And we're going to talk more on that, in future sessions.
Yes, sir.
But my point is that it's not just about how much money you make, obviously, it's about how much money you keep. And we need a stronger tool to manage the keeping of your money. All of that's just about good stewardship. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, of course, brother Frederick, you're not alone on this. I'm here step by step. And so, what I want you to do is, I want you to sit down and I want you to really look into how you'll want to enhance your task management
Mm-hmm.
as well as your money management of your budget. I want you to just do a little bit of research on this, or it's something that you and I can discuss further. But you need better tools. You're coming in with good intentions, as most good men are, but now you just need the right tools and systems in place to support you when it comes to multitasking. There's no such thing. We like to convince ourselves that we can multitask, but scientifically, it's already been discovered that the brain does not actually do multiple things at once. It just uh, tasks switch in the
Mm-hmm.
mind. It switches from one thing to another.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when we multitask, we end up making mistakes because we're hurting our brain. Our brain is more concerned with the stress of having to shift gears back and forth than actually being able to do any one task well.
Yeah.
And so I need us to work in focused environments. This is the reason why I talk about, dedicated blocks of time without distraction, have a good task management system, um, have a good way to be able to keep track of your effort as well as your money. Because really, when you think about it, these are your three key resources in your life: your time, your money, and your energy. So it's only right that we use the best tools to manage them.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. I hope you got some value tonight.
Yes, sir. Always appreciate you.
Perfect. I appreciate you. And if it be the Lord's will, we speak again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, y'all. So, did y'all see what we talked about right there? Again, the brother, he's moving and shaking, and he's doing the best that he can do, to the best that he knows how. His problem is not, I'm not putting in the work and I'm not trying to use tools to bring order to my life. The problem is the tools are not strong enough for his level of living. Have y'all ever heard the phrase that you're trying to hold a house together with glue and bubble gum? That's what will happen if you're trying to manage the busyness of your life without the tools on the right level. So it's not enough to have a to-do list. You need the to-do list that can match the level of your heaviness. You need to have a system that works for you. I got to have a system that works for me, guys. I just can't write down, chicken scratch on paper. You got to have tools that can work for your money. Okay. Yes, you may have access to an online bank account. You might even hold on to a receipt here or there. But I promise you, if you are not utilizing the right tools and systems to move your life forward, that's really holding you back. That's the leak. I mean, just imagine it, guys. We're living in a digital age right now where, with some of the tools that people have used in times past, it's like you're trying to get through life on a horse and carriage while other people have access to rocket. You want to be able to leverage the best tools to give you the best progress that you can possibly get. Why is the internet so powerful? It's because it's a very powerful. It's so much different than if you were just learning information by going to a library. See, both avenues give information. The difference is one of those, it gives it on a much higher level. All right, guys. So sometimes for some of y'all, it's not the fact that you're not using a tool, it's that you're not using the right tool. Okay. So I want to make this real. I know we've been talking for a minute and I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Thank y'all for supporting the work. I want y'all to know this: a man who leads himself has three things, not 1,000. He has three things going for him: a standard for the morning, a standard for the night, and control of his mouth. What's his standard for the morning? Before I get into that, the God 4513 asked, what's a great task management tool? My two favorites for right now are Trello and Motion AI. Trello, if you need a board to put all of your tasks on one page so you can kind of see everything all on one page and you can organize it by different columns. That was what I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about, I've got some things that I need to do ASAP. I got some things that I need to do soon. That's what kind of keeps everything in its proper place. I literally have thousands of tasks that I've documented on there, thousands of tasks that I've been able to complete using Trello. But even though I have thousands of tasks on my plate, that tool gives me a lot of peace of mind because it's sitting in a place that's outside of me that I can reference. It's not all in my head. If I had thousands of tasks just floating in my head, oh man, I'd be miserable. I'd fall apart. Motion AI is good for people who are looking for an automated solution on what you should be doing. So when you use Motion AI, you can just tell it a series of tasks that you have on your plate, and then the AI will actually tell you what you should work on first, second, and third, and it will tell you specific times to do it. So it's really like an assistant that you have access to 24/7, telling you what you should do. To each his own, but those are two tools that I prefer. Thank you for the great question, as well as the super chat once again. A man who leads himself has three things: a standard for the morning, a standard for the night, and control of his mouth. What's his standard for the morning? He starts his day with purpose. He already has a plan in mind for how the day is supposed to go. He's rocking and rolling. He gets up around the same time on most days. He makes the same first move most days. He has consistency. This man is a consistent man. And the reason he's able to be so productive while making it look easy is because his good habits are a part of his muscle memory. It's second nature to him. He's applied order in his life and he's installed it at a very deep level. So now everything that he does, it doesn't feel hard. It feels like second nature. Shout out to my brother Federic for the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, King, for supporting the work. For those of y'all that are joining, I'm here to tell y'all, if you're overwhelmed, you're not in charge. Apply what we're going over tonight. This can change your life. Support the work. Watch this video again. This is very critical. As men, we learn responsibility before we learn how to manage the responsibility. And that's the reason why so many men fall apart. That's the reason why more men aren't leaders, because they know that they have the weight of the world sitting in front of them, but they don't know how to manage it. Now we're talking about how to manage it using the right tools, the right systems, and the right principles. Remember, on Men of Order, we're always asking ourselves, what does a man of order do in this situation? How does he live his life? The second question that we ask is, where does disorder creep in? And we went through plenty of examples. How did disorder creep in for Jason? Too many inquiries. You got to pick one, and now you got to go in. Where did disorder creep in for Sir Yasharala? Through the distractions that were unexpected, but not having the right system to get back on track. Where did disorder creep in for Federic? By having the right tool. Think about that, guys. The disorder crept in by having the tool, but the tool not being strong enough for your actual needs. Disorder creeps in many ways. So again, when it comes to a man of order, this man is consistent and he's able to be productive because of his consistency. It's second nature. He has made good habits second nature to him, so that way it doesn't feel like much. See, this man thinks if I lose the morning, I lose the day. So he stays on top of stuff. If he doesn't stick to his morning standard, he already starts the day falling behind. And then he spends all day playing catch up. If he doesn't get back to his standards, his whole life feels like a chase. How do ordered men get control of their morning? They say, my phone is not the first thing that I touch. My body gets up first. Type yes if your phone steals your morning. If you wake up and the first thing that you do to start your morning is to check your phone, type yes. Because guess what you've probably done at some point? You get on the phone, you start looking at text messages, you might look at social media, you check email. And then you get distracted from what you need to do. Guys, you got to take control. You got to exercise leadership. Don't let your phone lead you. Look at the comments. Yes, yes, we've all done this. Now we have to add order to our life. This is how disorder creeps into our life. At the start of the morning, as soon as you open your eyes, disorder's right there, ready to take you off your pivot, man. You look at the phone, it throws you off. Now you're already behind on time. A man who leads himself has a standard, not just for his morning, he also has a standard for his night. The way that he moves, he shuts his day down on purpose. He doesn't just fall asleep. He's thinking tomorrow starts tonight. I need y'all to hear me. Tomorrow starts tonight, because the way that you end the day decides how you start the day when you wake up. In other words, if you stay up late, you wake up late. If you fall asleep without thinking, you wake up confused. If you don't close all of the open loops at night, your mind is still racing. You don't have your important tasks written down. You wake up at the top of the morning and your head is already full. You don't have clarity. But when you shut the day down on purpose, you wake up with a clear first step. And that's how overwhelm goes away. See, he knows that if he doesn't have a standard for his night, he's going to wake up confused. And he'll waste the morning trying to remember everything. Now he's falling behind. He knows that if he doesn't have a standard for his night, he'll go through the same rushed mornings, the same missed opportunities, and the same overwhelm that once held him back. He's remembering the opportunities that he missed out on in life. And that's why he orders his day. He didn't start his life this way, but he learned lessons from his losses. And that's the reason why he's moving forward. I want y'all to see something that Brother Frederick just said. He said, using the alarm on the phone doesn't help. How many of you guys feel the same way? We're talking about you getting away from using your phone at the start of the morning, but yet you have an alarm on your phone. So that already ties you into getting on the phone right there. How many of y'all can relate to that? I want to share with y'all a secret. There's two ways to get around this. Y'all ready? The first way is for you to go back to buying a personal alarm clock. That's right. The way that people used to wake up before the smartphone. Get an alarm clock. Stop using the iPhone. Get an alarm clock. It's very cheap. That's the first thing. You know, the second thing, put your phone, if you're going to use it for an alarm, put it on the other side of the room. So that way you have to get out of bed to turn it off. See, the reason why the phone doesn't help a lot of y'all when you set your alarm is because you put your phone right next to you. A lot of times it's not good for you, no way. If you take the phone away from you and you put it on the other side of the room, it's still close enough for you to hear it when it goes off, but it's far enough for you to get up and get moving with your day. The disorder creeps in when the phone is within an arm's reach from your bed. You don't have to get up. You just grab the phone, turn off the alarm, and then start looking at stuff, or you go back to sleep. Guys, you got to put these things that I'm telling you into practice. And you know the reason why? Because all of these different gems that you get from every session, imagine the compound effect of it 12 months from now. Just imagine if something as simple as getting up with intention you do day by day. Could that change your life? Maybe. Let's see. This is how an ordered man moves. An ordered man says to himself, before I go to sleep, I write down my top 1 to 3 goals for tomorrow. Then I stop. This is how he plans for tomorrow today. Remember what I told y'all. Tomorrow begins tonight. Whatever energy you got going for tonight is going to set the pace for you tomorrow. And that's the reason why I do these sessions at night during the work week, so you could go into the next work day with the right energy. Write your top 1 to 3 goals for tomorrow before you go to bed. So that way, when you start your morning, you're already moving with intentionality. You're not just going just off a whim. Last but not least, a man that has a standard in his life, a man that leads his life, he has a standard for his mouth when he's upset. See, this man, before he talks, he decides if or when he should say something. Not because he's scared, but because he's wise. Because he knows if I talk right now, I might do more harm than good. If he doesn't do that and just talks whenever he feels like talking, he'll have problems with his relationships, problems at work, problems everywhere. And if nothing changes, if he doesn't have a standard to watch his mouth, he'll have the same blow-ups, the same regret, and the same I didn't mean it moments. And that will hold him back from opportunities in life. Leave me a comment if you know someone personally who has amazing potential, but their mouth gets in their way. I certainly know people like that. I've been guilty of that. There's been times where you say something, man, you shouldn't have said it, and now it closed doors for you. These are very, very, very important things. Ordered men watch their mouth. Ordered men think to themselves, when I get hot, I'm going to take some time before I answer. I'm going to control myself. I'm going to bridle my tongue. If I need to, I'm going to go on a walk or some other healthy, calming outlet. And then I talk like a man. Type hot if you've said stuff in the heat of the moment that you had to take back. Type hot if that's happened to you. Shout out to sis Adaya. She says, we appreciate you. We appreciate the jewels that you're giving. Thank you so much, my sister. I appreciate it. We got women in the house getting themselves in order. So you already know as men, we got to hold it down. We got to lead by example. Men, this is what I mean when I say lead yourself. I don't mean a speech. I mean the daily control of your life, daily control of your thoughts, daily control of your words, daily control of your actions. When you have control of your thoughts, your words, and your actions, do you know what that leads to? Results. And results is why you're here. You want better results. That's why you add order to your life. But before we go, y'all, I'm going to close with this. If you feel overwhelmed, don't just say, I have too much to do. Ask a better question. Ask, where am I not leading myself? Just because you're in your body, it don't mean that you're leading yourself. A lot of times your emotions are leading you because you can't lead you. That's why you can't lead no one else. If you can't lead you, you can't lead a team. You can't lead a house. You can't lead a business. You can't lead a church or any other organization for that matter. You can't carry bigger weight. I want you to remember this scripture again. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. If you don't know how to rule your own house, how are you going to take care of bigger things? Be faithful in few things so you could be ruler over many things. That's not a shame against you when God is saying this. That's a warning. But you know what else it is? It's a roadmap. It's showing you the steps that you need to take for your life in order. Lead yourself first. Because if you can't lead yourself first, you're not going to lead anyone else. And so many people are going through broken lives because the blind was leading the blind. They might have had parents who couldn't lead themselves. Now they're having children. It should have been illegal for them to be raising somebody else because they couldn't lead themselves. Lead yourself first, guys. Here's your ordered move for the week. Pick one daily standard and keep it for 7 days. Pick one daily standard and keep it for 7 days. I want you to practice this for a week. Just take one standard. See how much better your life is when you live it by the right standards. Here's an example of a standard that you can apply to your life. My phone stays off for the first 30 minutes of the day. It's a standard. I'm in bed at the same time on most nights. I don't instantly respond whenever I'm frustrated. These are all standards. And the reason why you have the standards is not because you're acting like you're perfect. It's because you're trying to be led by you, not by somebody else. You are your most important leader in your life. You could have a father. You can have a mother. You can have a special person in your life, a teacher, a mentor, whoever. But no one is a more important leader for you than you. You're not going to be able to make the most of anyone else's leadership until you can lead yourself. You're not doing this so you can act like you're perfect. You're doing this so you can be led by yourself. For some, for the very first time in life, your entire life, you've been led by somebody else, marching to the beat of somebody else's drum. And now you've decided, I want to be a leader. I want to run a company. I want to take control of my life, because if I don't take control of my life, nobody else will. Nobody else is going to give me my dream. Nobody else is going to give me the results that I want out of life. I have to be in control of my life because no one is coming to save me. You're not doing this because you're trying to act like goody two shoes. You're doing this because you've decided to be a leader of you. And if you don't like how you lead you, why should anyone else? If you don't like you as a leader, why the hell should somebody else look to your leadership? So if you're deciding to take that move as a leader to lead you, type yes. Now is the time to lead you. Because in the next session, we're going to talk about why you can't finish what you start. Because a lot of men keep living in this loop. I start stuff, I don't finish, I feel behind. So I push harder and I still don't finish. You know what that stems from? A lack of self-leadership. Guys, I need y'all to see what Men of Order is all about. All of these sessions build on each other. Right now, we're going over the fundamentals. You're getting the principles, you're getting the knowledge, and then after the knowledge comes the tools and the results. You got to get this stuff down, guys, because on the next session, I'm going to show you one simple move to fix why you can't finish what you start so that you can start your week with control. That next session will be this Sunday, February the 8th at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mark your calendars. Do it right now. This Sunday, February 8th at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, don't just remember it. Write it down. Mark your calendars. Leaders don't leave everything to memory. Write it down. You're getting all of this game for free. Write it down. Show up. And I want to give a special shout out to everyone who has supported the work voluntarily. Thank you, Sir Yasharala, for always supporting the work, holding it down, paving the road for so many. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man. Bless you always. Thank you, Brother Frederick. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. And a special shout out to the sponsor of tonight's session, the God 4513 with the $50 super chat. Really appreciate it. Much love. Thank you to all that supported the work. Listen, man, if you guys got a lot of value from this session, please support this platform. Support what it is that we're doing. The world needs order. The world needs men of order. Can't do it without your support, y'all. All right. If you want to leave a super chat, make sure that y'all tap that dollar icon below the live chat. Anything is most appreciated. Thank you for supporting the platform. If you watch this platform after the live stream is done, you can still support the work by giving a super thanks. Just click the thanks icon under the video. If you prefer to support the work behind the scenes, you can send a Cash App or you could use PayPal, okay? The Cash App information is on the screen, $Gen Wealth Podcast. Or you could go to paypal.me/the Uzziah Show. All the information is on the screen. Just write it down, take a note of it. However you support the work, I greatly appreciate you for it. Until next time, walk in order, brothers. Peace.